Stai ascoltando un podcast Rizzoli Education. Welcome back to our series. This is number 3 of 10. You will find some extra material on JFK's speech on Hub Scuola Materiale Docente.
On January the 20th, 1961, in a freezing Washington, D.C., John Fitzgerald Kennedy took the oath of office to become the 35th President of the USA. Kennedy, having removed his coat and projecting youth and vigour, delivered what has become a landmark inaugural address. He sought to inspire a nation and send a message abroad, signalling the challenges of the Cold War and his hope and desire for peace in the nuclear age. He also wanted to be brief. He had studied other inaugural speeches and Lincoln's Gettysburg Address to glean the secrets of successful addresses. Although not the shortest, it was comprised of short phrases and words. Having won the presidential election with one of the smallest popular vote margins in history, JFK understood the great importance of the speech and his calling on all Americans to commit to service and sacrifice. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And then to addressing his international audience, ask not what America will do for you, but what we can do for the freedom of man. Following the address, JFK was cemented as the young, charismatic leader of the free world. His approval rating skyrocketed domestically, and he became a symbol for hope and peace in the tense atmosphere of the Cold War.
We dare not forget today that we are the heirs of that first revolution. Let the word go forth, from this time and place, to friend and foe alike, that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans, born in this century, tempered by war, disciplined by a hard and bitter peace, proud of our ancient heritage, and unwilling to witness or permit the slow undoing of those human rights to which this nation has always been committed, and to which we are committed today, at home and around the world. In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavour will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Make sure your students are familiar with the concept of inauguration speech, because this one can be a great starting point for both language and civic lessons. If you're planning a lesson for Educazione Civica, you can start the conversation by asking your students about recent inauguration speeches, from Obama to Trump to Biden. What do they remember? Why are they important? What is the message they want to convey? Then focus on the key sentence of the speech. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Ask your students to make a list of actions they can think of in response to Kennedy's call. What could they do to help their families, communities, country, or groups? If you're working on language, you can ask your students to choose a sentence from the speech and to paraphrase it. After using their own words to explain the same idea, ask them to write one sentence that would convince their classmates taking the same action required by the president during his inauguration speech. Remember, you will find additional material on rhetoric analysis in the book Great Inspirations by Rizzoli Education.
Hai ascoltato un podcast Rizzoli Education.